Happy Monday. Welcome to the Plug Talk Sports live show episode 138. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got 6 topics on board. So we have our usual suspects. We got Jonka, we got Brandon, and myself, Danny. So for that said, tonight, since we got so many topics, we're going to skip our plug and shameless plugs of the week. But I have to shout out, guys, I have to shout out Brandon. He graduated this morning, right? Was it this morning?
Yeah, this morning, graduated from the University of Florida, the journalism, sports, and media. So, been a very long 2 years. Of course, transferred from FIU, and of course, Plug Talk Sports have always been there to help me out through everything. So, wouldn't have been possible without Danny and Jonka here, and I really appreciate everyone, all the listeners.
Perfect, man. I thought you were gonna be out. I was thinking to myself, I was driving home from soccer. I'm like, man, like if Brandon's not gonna be on tonight, like that's cool, bro. Like the guy deserves it, man. He's gotta be out tonight. He's gotta be celebrating.
No, trust me, the grind, it does not stop. Especially for the topics we're talking about tonight. NBA, I can't miss it. I can't miss it. How can you?
And also before we start, I was out last week. My grandmother passed away last Sunday. So I would like to, on my behalf, tonight, I would like to dedicate this show to her. She was always very supportive of everything that I did, and she was very proud of me. So I'd like to dedicate tonight's episode to her. So without further ado, let's get into topic number 1, shall we? NBA playoffs. Unfortunately, and we're going to get a little bit into that later, unfortunately, Brandon, and this is for the people watching. This right here happening is like if Jesus' second return was happening. Brandon, congratulations. You're moving on to the second round. I hope you lose. But congratulations.
Yeah. I don't know if it's me, right? I'm not on the court, but my Celtics did get the job done. And, we were talking about, especially, going into the play-in tournament, everything like that. Who was the team that would most likely be the weakest competition out of the play-in tournament? It was Miami. So, Celtics got the job done, expected it out of them. Unfortunately, they let go of one game from a historic franchise. Mind you, a playoff franchise, a 3-point range type of night they had in game 2. But besides that, good job for the Celtics getting the job done. Good job. And it in the fashion they did too. I mean, again, 20-point win. No heart attacks from this side. No heart attacks.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to get into it later, but I don't know. Jonka, looks like you got a lot to say over there towards your words. But second round is all set up. I believe we got the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Dallas Mavericks. We got the Denver Nuggets in the Minnesota Timberwolves, which is one hell of a series. Mm-hmm. On the east side, we got the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, who are playing right now, currently. And then we have the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Before we even talk about kind of second round, I want to talk a little bit about the first round and what went on and how we got to those matchups. I gotta call out Brandon here. I got to call out Brandon for 2 reasons. For 2 teams, actually, from the same city.
Okay.
Brandon said, and I've been telling Jonka this for the past week, Brandon said he does not believe in any team from Dallas. Dallas Stars took out Las Vegas Golden Knights. They took down the defending champs in the NHL. And then we got the Dallas Mavericks, who took out the LA Clippers. Well, look, the LA Clippers, they always choke. We know that. A lot of people, I think including Jonka, had them going to the Western Conference Finals. But let me tell you, they've upped up their defense a little bit. They've upped up the defense, and let me tell you, Kyrie and Luka, man, when those guys are hitting, it is extremely hard to beat them. I don't think they'll make the NBA Finals. For me, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to make the NBA Finals. That's what I would like to see. But I don't think Dallas is an easy out. That's where I'll leave it there.
Yeah. I honestly, because again, as I mentioned before, I'm still going to stand on that. I don't believe in the Dallas Mavericks team making a far run. I think at least here in the second round, they probably stop, right? But for the Los Angeles Clippers, it was a weird way for them to go into this first round matchup without Kawhi Leonard off an injury. Yeah. And then also you had a game. I mean, what was it, game 5 or 6 where they had PJ Tucker starting? So it was kind of a weird series, though, I think, for them. But this is more of a outlying series where I think it's like a Dallas Mavericks of, how does it look like long term with Kyrie and Luka? Again, their first season together. Now they're over here in the second round after going through 6 games against Los Angeles. It's either a blowout or it's either that PJ Washington has to do something, right?
So you're saying that Oklahoma City Thunder will beat Dallas Mavericks?
I'm not saying they will. That is a guarantee that Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the youngest teams right now in the playoffs, if not the youngest, will go through them in 6 games. That's my prediction for them.
From what I heard from Jonka, off camera, Jonka thinks the Dallas Mavericks will beat the Thunder.
Okay.
Jonka, you into that a little bit?
I think they're gonna do it. I think Luka and Kyrie they look motivated for some reason. I don't know. They're giving off some sort of energy that I haven't seen from Luka and Kyrie in a while. And I understand that like Shea could potentially be the MVP of the league, but like I don't see Chet Holmgren doing really much anything. I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. I mean, I know I think they were the number 1 seed, but I don't know. If they were up against the Nuggets, I would take the Nuggets. If they were up against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I would take the Timberwolves. I don't know. I'm not convinced yet. I need to see it to believe it.
No, I mean, I get that, though. I think for me, I look at a lot of like these series matchups, and I think that playoff experience is probably the biggest thing.
Yep.
I mean, as I mentioned before, OKC, one of the youngest rosters in the playoffs alive so far, but also most inexperienced roster. So, but I don't know. It's hard for me to say, because we're also looking at like other players on Dallas right now, Gafford, Lively, how much playoff experience have they had themselves, and then Luka and Kyrie, who is, again, they're going to give you 50 combined per night. No question about that. But I just think that overall, like, face to face, there's got to be a whole talent spectrum right there that OKC has belonged to have. So that's why I put it.
The reason I have Dallas is because I pretty much know that Shea is gonna get his buckets, but the thing is, besides Shea, I don't know. You can't really point to somebody who's gonna step up else in the OKC because they got Luka. Luka's gonna ball, and you got Kyrie, and then I don't know. PJ Washington is showing up for some reason now.
Yep.
And then a bunch of other rookies are showing up now. So
yeah. Hey, but Holmgren is like a very versatile scorer. I think also when we look at the Williams on that roster as well, both of those guys, they can score as well. Dort can score as well. Like they have a lot of great offensive pieces on that one. And again, we're also talking about like chemistry. I mean, they're barking mad throughout these entire playoffs on offense. So no pun intended.
Derek Jones Jr., Max Kleber, Derek Lively balling from Duke, bro. Markieff Morris.
I mean, I think if those guys, I think all the guys in the Dallas Mavericks don't play with that same energy that they did against the LA Clippers. They don't play with that energy, they don't have a chance.
Yeah.
They got to bring it. They got to bring it again. And I mean, I sort of agree with Brandon. I know the playoff experience and stuff like that, but I don't know, man. Like, I think it's going to be very hard if the team comes in ready, like they did in the Clippers series, and Kyrie and Luka are hitting. I think they're a tough team to beat.
No, they are. But I think from the perspective of Dallas, because there was a game, I believe it was game 3 or whatever, if not game 4, where the Mavericks lost, and Luka was talking about, I feel like I'm leaving Kyrie down when I don't have a big game.
Yeah.
If it requires 2 guys, not just one, mind you, 2 guys to be the focal point of your offense to keep the boat alive, I can't imagine that going to a series against OKC again, number 1 in the West for a reason, and being successful for that. So the only way I see Dallas even making a comeback, well, not a comeback because the series hasn't even started, but at least an upset, the only way, both players 25 a night. if not 27.5 a night, over. If you like betting on the over, bet on the over every single time for Dallas because they're going to try.
Now, talking about Los Angeles, the Clippers, Paul George is not taking the extension, becoming an unrestricted free agent. What do you guys think Paul George does? Does he stay with LA, or do you guys see him fishing the market?
I think he's done. I think he's done with LA. I mean, he could stay if he wanted to. I think he's from LA, so he might stay home. But it's. I don't know who would want Paul George at this moment in time, because I feel like he would want to be a star, whatever team he ends up on. Man, would he go back to OKC? Would he go back to the Pacers? I would like to see a return. Not gonna lie, him and the Pacers right now with this team would be kind of nice. It gives them the little bit of a veteran experience.
It would be nice.
It would be, if let's say the Pacers don't end up winning the series, it would be a good pickup. But I think it might be too much money that he'd be asking for. So that's the problem. It's all gonna be the money. What he's gonna be asking for, because apparently, from what I read, it's the Clippers may not be able to match it. But
I truly believe, and again, to start off, I think Paul George is done with the Clippers. I think the situation in Los Angeles has gone to a health thing, but I do believe there's a lot of teams out there in the Eastern Conference that needs a wing right now, right? All-star wing. I mean, Paul George still playing at the top of his game, 13 years experience and 22, 25 points per game right now for Los Angeles.
He's doing great.
So, I mean, we looked at, as we, start off the show, with the Pacers and Knicks game, those are two teams that could use more wing help. I mean, maybe the Pacers over New York, as Jonka mentioned before, but I'm also thinking of other teams as well, teams that were in the playoffs this year. Philadelphia might be looking to move on from Tobias Harris and might try to bring in Paul George because, again, a Paul George, Joel Embiid, that's a matchup they're going to have to kind of convince Joel to stay more long-term and, of course, the progress for everyone else. And then I'm also thinking of another team, which, again, we'll talk about later on, but they're in South Beach. So I think Paul George has a lot of great opportunities in the Eastern Conference, and I wouldn't be shocked about it.
I would, low-key, this is maybe, I don't think it's going to happen, but I think a great scenario for PG-13 would be in New Orleans Pelicans. They get rid of CJ McCollum because I think he wasn't that good this series coming up, and I think it would help Brandon Ingram and Zion with him in there, bro. That three would be absolutely nuts. Who are you gonna guard, bro? Who are you guarding?
It would be good. The only thing I would think about that is that, so like how would the starting five and be like? I mean, what is like Brandon Ingram gonna play the 4 now? You know what I mean? I mean, where do you even put Zion?
Valanciunas at the 5. I would put Zion at the 4, PG at the 3, and then Ingram at the 2, and then 1. I think Alvarado.
You know what? I'll even switch it up a little bit. CJ McCollum as the 1, Paul George as the 2.
You think they keep CJ McCollum if they get rid of if they get Paul George?
No, absolutely. I feel like in the way that CJ McCollum's career is looking like, and again, he's still a really good, talented player, but I don't think he's going to be asking for like some crazy contract, let alone, I mean, again, we're talking about Paul George bound to leave. So, I mean, either that, he signs a little bit less, maybe they do like a little sign trade thing. I'm not too positive the financial stuff going on right now in New Orleans. And of course, what Paul George's price tag will be like, especially with the NBA's price tag always, exaggerating upwards. But I think they'll be able to do it. I don't think CJ McCollum is going to be a top player going out in his position right now.
So let's take a look at the second round matchup. So we just went final a couple minutes ago. The New York Knicks defeating the Indiana Pacers 121-117. So the Knicks are up 1-0 in that series. Who do you guys have in that one? New York Knicks or Indiana Pacers? Man, like, at least for me, I want to believe in the Indiana Pacers. I really do. I really do like their players.
Let me see those.
But, man, the way Jalen Brunson's playing right now and the New York Knicks team, I see them going to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I remember telling people like before the playoffs even started that there was like 2 guards that were in my top 5 going to the playoffs. My apologies, top 10 going to the playoffs. It was Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
All right. This is probably the best matchup we'll see. And again, as we saw in game 1, the fastest paced matchup we'll see out of these playoffs. I mean, both of these teams go neck to neck with each other on the wire. And that's how, I mean, again, for the runs in the first round of Indiana and Milwaukee, a lot of times the runs were built off a quick pace, right? Bobby Portis flat-footed, no one's able to get up on Tyrese, is dishing out assists here and there. We saw the exact same thing where we have guys like Naismith and like Obi Toppin. Again, guys we shouldn't expect to take over games, taking over games with easy baskets inside and getting like highlight reels. Like, what was it like between the legs in the middle of a game by Obi, his former team?
Yep.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
That right there, man. That's disrespect.
That's disrespect. That's worse than a former Manchester United player going into Old Trafford in a Man City colors. All right, that's more. That's at least the same level.
And then scoring against them and celebrating.
Exactly that. So I think it's super fast paced. I think the Pacers definitely do have a chance. Don't think that they don't. And I think the biggest thing is it's going to be depth at the end of it, right? Because both of these teams fight off in pace. But is Jalen Brunson really going to keep on playing 45 minutes a night? Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, 40 to 35 minutes a night? I really don't believe so. I think Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Depending on what he does in this series, and he still had a pretty good game, let alone Hartenstein with a half-court shot. I mean, if they did have a little more big man magic, they're good.
I've been telling Jonka, I really love that Hartenstein kid.
Yeah.
I really do. And DiVincenzo, man, I don't even know why Golden State got rid of DiVincenzo or even Milwaukee had DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. He's a great player. I really do like this New York Knicks team.
No, yeah, I mean, it's just the Villanova core as well. I mean, we're talking about Hart, Brunson, DiVincenzo, all national champs from Villanova. I mean, it's just a weird chemistry where it's just, it's small ball, it's guards, but they're right in your face. You know what I mean? But as mentioned before, I think the Knicks will be able to have it. I don't think it's going to be easy. This is going to be a 7-game series.
I agree. I was about to tell you guys what you guys think. I'm going with New York Knicks in 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you guys. 7 games, and not for those same reasons, but also, I mean, this game ended up by 4 points being decided, and Tyrese Halliburton only had 6 points the entire day, and I doubt that's gonna happen again. So, and plus, DiVincenzo had 44 minutes. Josh Hart had the entire 48. He didn't miss a single minute. And Jalen Brunson with 44 and Anunoby with 42. By next game, they're going to be exhausted. You can tell they're going to be sluggish. So I'm expecting Indiana to win game 2, and then I think it's going to go 7 games from there. But to win the whole thing, I don't know, bro. Because we saw what Halliburton did in that All-Star game, bro. That guy was on like crack. And Brunson, forget about it. There's no need to describe what he's been doing.
This game just kicked off. It is Timberwolves and Nuggets. Jonka, talk to us about that. I'm going to have to say this is another 7-game series, and I have Minnesota in 7.
All right, boy. Let me just talk, because I watched this game from start to finish, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Anthony Edwards is for real. He's for real, bro. I swear. Let me just tell you this right now. If Minnesota tonight wins and goes up 2-0,
going back home
to Minnesota, sweep. Call it. There's no way Denver's going to be able to recover from that. No way. Because their advantage is because they're playing in a mile-high city. And you can't win with that. If they can't win tonight, this thing is going sweep. There's no point. They should just pack it up and just stay home. Like, say that much right now. And you could just from me saying this right now, Jaden McDaniels didn't score a single point in that win on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Take that as you will, and they still kick that butt, bro.
So you're saying if Minnesota wins tonight, sweep.
If
they don't win tonight, what do you say?
It will go 6.
Okay, Brandon.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Jonka ain't talking crazy. He's not talking crazy right now. He's not talking crazy. I think the most interesting thing about this series is the fact that Denver came into this series barely getting any leads over the Lakers, making all these comeback wins and a gentleman's sweep out of 5 games. Man, the T-Wolves dominated a Suns team that was a top 3 betting favorite preseason for a title. If you ask me personally, Minnesota is here. And again, they're not playing with Rudy Gobert tonight as he has his first child on the way. So, congrats to Rudy. But besides that, though, let's say hypothetically, right? Denver wins, right? 1-1 series going back to Minnesota. Is Denver winning any games in Minnesota? The first game, Jokic almost had a triple-double. A lot of teams, they're probably going to be on the fence, especially when Jokic is going on. This Minnesota Timberwolves team, even as young as it is, or at least playoff, depth as it gets to it, like this team is built for the Western Conference Finals and more. I don't think Denver at the point that they are right now, again, of course, champions last year, Jokic MVP, but I just don't see them being built for that this year, though. I'm not seeing a repeat at all. I honestly believe win or lose for Denver tonight, it's going to be T-Wolves in 5.
I only said 7 because I could see the Nuggets fighting back.
No, of course.
I could see it. That's why I said 7. And plus, I want another exciting series. I think this is a heavyweight matchup in the West, and I could see it happening. But I mean, if it wasn't for that, I could see it too. And I have the Timberwolves in this series as well. Let's talk about the final series because we already discussed Mavericks and Thunder. Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics, guys. I don't even need to say this. I'm going Celtics in 5.
Yeah, I'm thinking for the Celtics themselves. It's an interesting matchup, though, because I remember in the regular season, and this was like early regular season, there was like back-to-back games. I think the Cavs beat out the Celtics in like close matchups. And again, this is all Donovan Mitchell, right? The main focus of this series is Porzingis being out for the entire series.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the main focus here because we're talking about Mobley and as well as Garrett Allen both being down low in the front court and both 7-footers having to deal with nobody else but Al Horford. The only thing that I would say that would make the Celtics more human is a poor shooting percentage from 3-point range. Because, again, that's Joe Mazzulla ball, right? That's moving across the perimeter. Guys are not really attacking. They might switch it up to do more mid-range stuff, but Donovan Mitchell's going to match on the other end. Like, there's no way you're going to stop Donovan Mitchell. Like, this Cavaliers team, they were down, almost 20 points or whatever against Orlando in Game 7. Yeah. Wasn't even fazed about it. Got on the run there. So I believe from this series, I still got the Celtics winning it, of course, just because, again, I believe in, depth, that being important in the playoffs, especially second, third round. But what I would say, this would not be an easy series. I have Celtics in 6, and I'm expecting that the only way that the Celtics do lose this game is that they beat themselves.
Jonka? So Celtics in 6. I say Celtics in 5. Jonka?
I'm expecting. I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm expecting the Celtics to win this series.
I said that every year.
Now, I will say this. Without Porzingis, that does make you human, like you said. That does make you human. Not superhuman, but just barely human. Jared Allen, he didn't play Game 7. He's going to be coming in fresh now after the birth of his newborn baby.
Yeah, a lot of newborn.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. These people. He's going to be motivated. Now, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are with Porzingis out, they're going to be bigger. Can the Boston Celtics offense neutralize the scoring in the paint that they're most likely going to abuse that for sure? If they can, I don't. It's going to be this game. This series might go 7. I tell you this right now. This series might go 7.
Yeah, unfortunately, I could see that though.
It'll be shocking. I don't know who will win.
I think that'll be shocking.
I would love to see the Celtics lose. I mean, shit. Excuse my language, but
I think that too, bro. If the Celtics lose, I'll have a parade on here the next Monday.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, I know Donovan. I've been saying I've wanted Donovan Mitchell in Miami since years ago, But everybody's like, oh no, bro, no. No, yes, he's the guy, bro. Now, can Jalen Brunson replicate what he did against Miami, even though Miami was just crippled, basically? You guys just abused us, so you guys might be a little bit entitled and spoiled at this moment in time. So I think you're going to get humbled game one. That's my opinion. Get humbled.
I don't know. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that part, because after game 5, Jason Tatum was asked about, like, the first round matchup, this and that against the Heat. He said that the good thing about the Heat is that they don't allow you to kind of like relax, right? Especially after game 2, that was in the motive. So I wouldn't say that they're relaxed going into the second round matchup. Again, especially, you're more on hinge, especially with the guy out. But maybe that first round match against the Heat, it was probably the best thing for the Celtics going into this postseason. I'm just saying, the way that Tatum said, the way the guys in the locker room said it, they're not just like walking into series anymore, if that makes sense.
I guess. I mean, I don't know if not allowing you to rest means like actual rest after the game or during the game where like they're constantly getting in your face. Maybe I think that's what he meant. I don't know about like rest. For sure. It's your narrative, not mine.
Well, we're done with NBA playoff talk. Now we'll switch our focus to the Miami Heat offseason. And Pat Riley had a very interesting press conference today at the Kaseya Center. And boy, did Mr. Riley, the Godfather, he came out swinging in that press conference. And I'll read you guys some of the things that he said. So Pat Riley says there are 2 or 3 critical players in this league who would get the Heat to go for it and shoot the moon. Otherwise, he stresses this summer isn't necessarily about adding a star. And he points out that of the 8 tax teams, Miami included, 6 are done. Next quote, Pat Riley was asked on trading Jimmy Butler, if there's any trade for Jimmy Butler. He said no, and he added there's a possibility that a lot of things are on the table. And he was also asked if Jimmy is still a top player, and he said yes, but just like anyone else, he may need to make some changes in his overload routine. Continued asking about any changes for the Heat. Riley said, we're going to change some things, but we're surely not going to rip things apart. Then, of course, Brandon probably remembers this quite fondly, but Jimmy Butler was poking fun at the Celtics after they lost to the Heat in Game 2.
Yeah, I saw that.
We know Jimmy. And Pat Riley said, if you're not on the court playing, you should keep your mouth shut. Because also pointing at the Celtics after that Game 2, he did say recently while he was at the Formula One Grand Prix here in Miami that if he were on the court, he would have beaten both Boston and New York. Let's see if there's any more quotes from Mr. Riley. Okay, Udonis Haslem, who works with the Miami Heat organization, believes that Tyler Hero is better fit as a 6-man and not a starter. And Riley says he doesn't agree with Haslem's comment and that Hero is a starter. He also reiterated that Haslem works for the Heat and probably should have kept that to himself and not said it on ESPN. So those were some of the comments that Pat Riley said today about his team and the potential offseason moves. Brandon, he just came swinging for the fences today. And he was calling out Spoelstra as well, saying that Spoelstra needs to do his homework heading into a series. Do you think that this, especially the riffraff with Jimmy Butler there, and his agent didn't come out and didn't really say much, but just said that Jimmy and Pat are cut from the same cloth and there won't be any issues. But do you think these comments from Riley, is it going to hurt Miami or is it going to help them?
I honestly think that, because I think it was almost like a broken record. Every single year we talk about Pat Riley at the end of the year, talking about, but he's not going to change the team, or he wants to keep the same core together. This is a break in the cloth. Like, this will affect Miami Heat basketball in probably the biggest way. We're talking about a decision of a guy who the past 5 years has really been the turning franchise player for your team in Jimmy Butler. And for that to be, again, not saying that the comments like, a jab at Jimmy, right? Again, he wasn't on the floor, and Pat Riley doesn't want to be any conversations off season, especially any conversations, period. But I think that for Pat Riley, though, and especially the front office, and they're kind of, let's not blow up everything. Let's try to like keep this intact. Let's still try to make moves. Let's try to. I mean, the reality is they don't have no money for it, right? This is an NBA team in the first apron. In other words, from the new NBA rules, that means that basically any trade, anything like that, you can't be taking in more money than you're giving out. So you're not going to get any more money via trades and signs anymore. You're going to have to find out a way to still be competitive without really trying to get over anything else, whether that be another apron or whether that be more of a salary cap. I mean, this is a Pat Riley that we're going to have to see active for the first time in I don't know how long, where it's not just a one big trade that's like, oh my God, we got Terry Rozier or we got Patty Mills out of nothing. You know what I mean? This is going to be a big offseason for the Miami Heat. Honestly, it's going to change a lot of things.
I actually do agree with Udonis Haslem. I think Tyler Hero plays so much better when he's coming off the bench than when he's starting, to be honest with you. So I kind of agree with UD on that one. I saw Jonka's nod. Yeah, Jonka agrees with UD as well. There's been rumors. Obviously, Miami's always – I think I've learned in the last couple years that Miami's always going to be in some rumors for some big player. And I think people were freaking out because they saw LeBron James in Miami recently. He was here for Formula One, and he was out at dinner. That got people going. But also Kevin Durant. Is Kevin Durant leaving the Phoenix Suns? Does he have any interest in Miami? And also Donovan Mitchell. Is Donovan Mitchell going to leave Cleveland and come to Miami? I agree with you, Brandon. I think that if Pat decides, we have to keep this core together, I think that that's going to hurt Miami because keeping this team together, we saw where it took us this year. Granted, there was injuries in the playoffs, but it's not going to do anything. It's not going to bring us a championship here to Miami. I personally don't think so. And there was a lot of talks as well of, would keep Bam Adebayo over Jimmy Butler. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Me personally, that's a tough decision. Jimmy is pretty much, like Brandon said, your franchise guy for the last couple of years. Bam, when it comes to playoff basketball, I love Bam, but when it comes to playoff basketball, he infuriates me. He infuriates me because he doesn't have that edge like a Joel Embiid where, hey, give me the ball. I'm going straight to the rim. I'm going straight to the basket. You see Bam running around in circles. He's scared to drive in on 90-year-old Al Horford. I mean, come on. Have some guts. Drive to the basket. So that's a tough question for me, but I definitely do think that keeping this core together, or at least not making some big significant changes, will hurt this team.
Absolutely. Actually, I do want to go before even going into just like offseason stuff. I do want to talk about the Tyler Hero piece, though.
Yeah.
Because as interesting as it is, again, this could definitely help Miami, though. I mean, if Tyler Hero wants to, reduce his role a little bit, that's perfect. As Udonis Haslem said on ESPN's First Take, working to the secondary, don't really have to force yourself shots or get other guys involved. I don't think he wants that role, though. That's the issue. Like, every single offseason, we're always talking about, like, Tyler is trying to prove himself to be a starting five. He's trying to prove himself. He's a part of a Trae Young, Luka Doncic type of trio, type of whatever rivalry that he makes up in his head. I don't really believe Tyler Hero will be able to even welcome a six-man role, if that even makes sense. But going into the offseason, though, I mean, Bam, he has to stay, right? Bam has to stay.
Yeah.
And I wanted to actually jump this into the Paul George scenario because I think that what's really interesting about this, as I mentioned before, the Heat, I don't think they're going to be able to do a lot of trades here and there, especially what Pat Riley wants to do. I think signing Paul George is the only move for Miami this offseason. Because again, here, my apologies, Jimmy Butler, 150 whatever, $200 something $200 million max. That's probably what he's looking for.
Yeah.
He's not going to get it from Miami. Miami can't really afford that right now. If they afford that, what knows what Bam's going to do end of his contract, what Hero does at the end of his contract. Probably not coming back if Jimmy stays. So that's what I'm thinking of. If Jimmy is to leave, how do you move on from that? And Paul George is the only answer I have for Miami. It makes sense. He'll take over that wing spot. Of course, again, Jimmy Butler, a huge piece of that franchise, but Paul George having that experience, and again, we're still talking about a guy that's productive in his career, would join a Miami team that would have a same core as Pat Riley wants to have. And maybe with that signing, you can go ahead and get yourself some guys, via one trade, right? Let's say, for example, like Wright and Patty Mills, they're not going to work out here at all. Okay, we're going to have to figure out how to replace those guys in those positions. Let's go ahead and get rid of Kevin Love and get some guys for that. Young guys, mind you. And you can do something like that, or even some draft picks for that. So I think that would probably be the ideal location going forward for Miami this offseason. Keep Bam as much as you can, but the only way to do that, you got to get rid of Jimmy.
Jonka?
Man, it's a lot to take in from what Pat Riley has said today, but I will say this to Pat Riley. Pat, just because you disagree with what Haslam said doesn't mean that it's bad or it's fake or it's incorrect. Like, it's an opinion. Just because it's not your opinion doesn't mean it can be correct. All right? I'll put that out there. Now, I need to, before saying anything, because I know the Heat are in a very delicate situation right now because they're on teetering between a whole restart and just maybe adding a couple pieces or we're doing the little magic that Pat Riley does. I want to ask you two, when they drafted Dwayne Wade in 2003, they picked up their franchise guy. He was young from the draft, and you knew that he was going to be representing your organization. But ever since they drafted him, there hasn't been another person like that to come in for the Heat, where you're starting from this new guy, like a Halliburton, like a Shea, like a Tatum. The Heat have not drafted anybody nearly a franchise player. I mean,
yeah, but we're talking lottery picks, though.
No, that's I'm saying they only pick up role pieces. They're not looking for game changers. They're just looking for pieces just to fit Jimmy Butler's little role narrative that he's trying to do. I don't want that, bro. I'm tired of that already. Jimmy Butler doesn't. I'm sorry, but he does not do much in the regular goddamn season. He does not do much. He only turns it on in the playoffs, and that's after we fight tooth and nail in the goddamn play-in. We get out of the play-in, and then we're 7th or 8th seed, and then we have to work our asses all the way up just to potentially make the Eastern Conference Finals and maybe the NBA Finals. And by the time if we even get there, we're exhausted, and we went to game 6s and game 7s multiple times, and we can't win. And since 2020, the team hasn't addressed the one issue is that we are too small. We couldn't match up with the Lakers, and then we got bullied. Last year we didn't match up with the Nuggets. We got bullied 4-1. Bro, this is ridiculous. I don't understand how this team, how Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra have not been able to address the one common sense thing on the entire team, bro. It's just I don't know what else to do. I really don't know what else to do. Tyler Hero has not improved since 2020. Yes, he can score at times. He can get streaky at times, but also he's not improved his goddamn defense. I'm gonna keep saying goddamn because damn it, I'm pissed off. I'm really pissed off. He does not improve his defense. Duncan Robinson does not improve his defense. He has been the most inconsistent thing I've ever seen. One game he'll go 10 for 10 from 3, and then for the next 20 games he'll go 1 for 50. Buddy, I can't have that. I cannot have that. You guys say something before I break this table, bro. I swear.
Well, you are right about the
wait.
defensive side of things.
I have a list here of potential free agents. I wrote this down. This is a week ago. I was waiting for this day. All right, guys? I was waiting for this day. With these names, you can pick out a potential finals team that could possibly win. All right? These are the names in the free agency. Bruce Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, Paul George, DeMar DeRozan, Miles Bridges, Nicholas Claxton, Emmanuel Quickley, Jordan Miller, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, DeJounte Murray, Kelly Olynyk, former Heat player, Derrick Jones Jr., former Heat player, Andrew Wiggins, Jay Crowder, another one, PJ Tucker, another one, Mo Bamba. We need a center. Move Bam to the 4 and put Mo Bamba at the 5. Something. Bro, all those names, I feel like Pat Riley can make some sort of team without having to need Jimmy Butler. Like straight up. Apparently the guy wanted $115 million for 2 years. Buddy, we're not paying you $55.5 million for 2 years. Nah, I'm sorry. What cap do you think we have, buddy? Nah, the guy's delusional. He thinks because I try hard in the playoffs, that means I deserve all the money. Nah, I'm sorry. That's why I agree with Pat Riley.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying for years, though. It's that, it works in May. It works in May. It's kind of, it works in May. It doesn't work in June. That's the biggest thing. But Bamba to the 5 is a little crazy, though, John. I'm not going to lie. I had a little...
Or somebody. I don't know, bro.
Yeah. I don't know if that moves a needle, but...
Maybe draft Edey, bro. Zach Edey from Purdue.
Yeah.
If he lands him.
But that's also another thing, Jock, I was going to mention, though, because I know you mentioned about, since Dwayne Wade, was there another lottery pick or anything like that? I mean, the Heat been stuck in this kind of, let's not rebuild phase. Like, shoot, I mean, like, again, when Dwayne Wade left, right, to the Cavaliers and all that, what was the kind of position the Heat were in? Almost like a Dolphins throughout the early 2000s. A mediocre, we got one guy in a jersey, another guy leaves to replace his jersey. Dion Waiters to Justice Winslow to a Josh Richardson to a Tyler Johnson, if you remember that $60 million deal for no reason.
Luke Babbitt.
Man, shout out to the Bobcats. Shout out to Charlotte.
Hey, Rodney Magruder. I'm just cutting out the names, bro.
Yeah. Ennis. Oh, James Ennis, man. Those
Ennis.
So ridiculous. Yeah. But I mean, John, you hit it right on the nail, though. The Heat, again, we're in a weird situation in Miami basketball where you got two really good young guys you can make a core around, but at the same time, you got a player and a franchise player that wants to win right now.
Yeah.
So this is a hard pill to swallow. It's a really hard pill to swallow for Heat fans. I think that in order to be successful long term, Jimmy's got to go unless you really want to pay him and fiend for the next 4 years of an 8th seed to play in. But if Jimmy is no longer there, Paul George could be an option, or maybe you start trading away for draft picks.
Well, Brandon, there was a comment that Pat did say when he was asked about Jimmy's extension, which there's going to be some serious conversations had this summer. Mm-hmm. Pat did say, I need to see that Jimmy is going to play a lot of the regular season games and not miss a lot of time. He needs to guarantee me that he's going to play a lot of the regular season games.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, I know Pat Riley was not a fan of, the NBA rules of, minimum or whatever, 60-something games, because it basically kind of like rewards players for, missing 16 games, but not 18 games, which, in some part I agree on that. But for Jimmy's sake, I mean, we've seen him around town. You know what I mean? Like literally seen him around town on horses with coffee shops and doing promos on the beach in Wynwood. I mean, we literally seen him around town and not in the gym or in the arenas for games. I honestly believe it's just a Pat Riley, hardball, 1980s type of coaching mentality, 1990s Knicks mentality that he brought to that franchise. And what he brought to Miami in the late 90s, early 2000s, where it's, we're going to have to gut this thing down, right? Guys can't be messing around for no reason, no matter how big of a name they are and how big of, a status they have on a franchise. That's exactly what happened with Shaquille O'Neal when he left Miami in the early 2000s after their first championship. I'm thinking to myself that Jimmy Butler, I mean, again, when he turns it on, he turns it on, right? I'm not questioning his skill on the court, But for Pat Riley, that's a big commitment question.
Yeah.
How committed is Jimmy Butler during the regular season and long term for the Heat? I mean, that's as big as it gets.
So, turning the page to another topic, you guys can see Ryan Garcia did defeat Devin Haney, but now, about 1 week, 2 weeks after the fight, it's 2 weeks after the fight, it's come out that he failed a drug test before the fight and he was using PEDs. My only statement in question to this is, why do you not say, if he failed a drug test before the fight, why don't you just say this before the fight happens? And then you let him go and fight while PEDs are in his system. Doesn't make any sense.
Not at all.
I think they're just trying to discredit his win, bro, because nobody expected Ryan Garcia to knock out or just basically outbox David Haney that easy, bro. The guy looked like every single round looked like Ryan Garcia was gonna destroy Haney, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I rewatched that fight like 3 times. It was impressive, but even if you had PEDs, that doesn't really mean that you could outbox somebody. That's skill. I mean, maybe by power, but still, it doesn't really add up. How could you possibly come out with results 2 weeks later after the fight? Maybe like a day or two if there was like a delay, but 2 weeks. I'm sorry, that's just like somebody trying to discredit Ryan Garcia. That's my opinion. Like, there's
Brandon?
I mean, there's a saying like the Tour de France that basically says that every single athlete uses enhancing drugs to be able to compete on that level. And for Ryan Garcia, I mean, it makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if every other boxer fighter out there has something.
Hey, Connor's calling for a lifetime ban of Ryan Garcia.
Not Connor going out saying that.
I know, man.
But yeah, I mean, for Garcia's situation though, don't use it in the first place if you don't want to be in that situation. And that's really the only thing I can say about that for any athlete.
So, and here's another interesting thing in the world of boxing, and I showed Jonka this one. Canelo Alvarez had a fight on Saturday night, and his opponent was represented, you guys know him well, Oscar De La Hoya, former fighter, head of Golden Boy Promotions. And De La Hoya in the press conference, it was interesting. He goes up there, he's talking about this fight, and all of a sudden takes a whole letter and starts reading about how he's tired of Canelo Alvarez disrespecting his name, and that, yes, he might have had some issues in his personal life in the past, but that don't forget who made Canelo Alvarez. And it was Golden Boy Promotions. And then, of course, Canelo got upset about that and got up and said some stuff to Canelo Alvarez. Look, Canelo was in his promotion when he started his career. There seems to be some beef there. Canelo says that Oscar De La Hoya steals fighters' money. It seems to be there's a lot of personal stuff in there, and there's a lot of bad blood. But making Canelo Alvarez, I personally don't think so. Oscar wasn't going out there for Canelo and winning these fights.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, we know Oscar De La Hoya had his problems earlier in his boxing career, but also I don't think Canelo should be talking like any smack, because wasn't he the one like a couple years ago that got caught using PEDs officially, and then so they had to take away his belt. So I'm like, I mean, yeah, sure, I had some problems with mental health, but you cheated. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you could be trying to make me look bad, but you're the one that looks like an idiot.
Yeah. Look, all I can say to that is that Canelo is the only name I know in boxing that's outside of boxing. That's how big his name is. That's how many fights he's won. And that's how big his brand is.
Yeah.
Whether promotion or not, Canelo was going to do that no matter what.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, we've gotten to a good time. Last 10 minutes of the show here. Miami Marlins traded away Luis Arraez. You guys, it was the plug of the week. There is an article on our website that you can read. It was great. It was a great article. It was a good read. Let me tell you. Hold on. Let me just gather my thoughts here. There's a lot. There's a lot to dissect. What's wrong here? So you get rid of your best offensive player. He does great in his first game in a San Diego Padres uniform. You traded him away for peanuts. You didn't get anything back. You got a minor league prospect. And also you gave away money to the Padres. You get embarrassed by the Oakland Athletics by a final score of 20-4. This team and this organization, and I hate to say it, because there's a lot of baseball potential in Miami. We know this is a baseball city. This team and organization is a disrespect to its fan base, whatever is left of it, and to the city of Miami. We thought that Jeffrey Loria and David Sampson, we thought they were bad because they would get rid of a lot of players that people loved here in this city. But you know what? At the end of the day, you know what Bruce Sherman doesn't have that David Sampson and Jeffrey Loria have?
Balls.
They got 2 World Series titles to the city of Miami. 2. Yes, did it piss off a lot of people? They got rid of some of their favorite players. They got rid of my favorite player, which was Miguel Cabrera. But you know what? Bruce Sherman, people thought that Bruce Sherman was going to be better. He's been worse. Worse. They got rid of Kim. They didn't want to re-sign her. She was actually doing some good for the Miami Marlins organization, putting a ball club together. You know, you got season ticket sales reps calling people, trying to get them to go to games and talking about, oh, you can come try a mile-long Cuban sandwich at the stadium and come enjoy the amenities of the stadium. Damn it, we don't want to go to the stadium to enjoy the food because, first of all, that's all people go there for. We want to see a winning team. We can't even know, but we made the playoffs. You made the playoffs. The next series couldn't even get back to Lone Depot because you lost every game and got swept. What good is that? They're not building a winning culture in the Miami Marlins organization. If your goal is, we made the playoffs. That's what losers think. That is what losers think. Your goal every year should be to win a championship and put yourself in good position. But you're not going to do that with a bunch of no-name scrubs. And I guarantee you, Jazz Chisholm's going to be the next one out the door. And here's the thing. You get these players, and what do? You go to court against them in arbitration cases. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? What are we doing here in Miami? Like, this team really is a disgrace to the city of Miami. And then they wonder why they're getting 4,000, 6,000 in attendance. Because nobody cares anymore. Half of Miami, if not all of Miami, they're all fans of other teams because those teams, first of all, I guarantee you they probably have a former Miami Marlin on there because that's all we do is promote players and build players up and then sell them to other franchises and they become champions somewhere else.
Yeah.
But this team, really, this organization, they just keep getting worse and worse and keep just, I would say, spitting on the fans here in Miami. The people are tired of it. They're sick of it. And now the people who didn't even care about baseball, who were mad because the iconic Orange Bowl was knocked down for a 99-year lease deal that they had to pay through their taxes for this ballpark. And now they say, this is why I'm pissed. Because this franchise, this organization hasn't delivered squat. And they continue to be bad and they continue to literally piss on the fans. And it's no wonder that Skip Schumacher, who I think has so much potential to be a great manager, wants to leave. Because who wants to be in a team that gives you no resources to win? Nobody does. So that's my rant on the Marlins.
And I think Skip, and I'm glad you mentioned Skip, though, because Skip is probably one of the 3 best things that happened to Miami, at least Marlins-wise. One of the top 3 best things for that happened the last 3 years. All right? Hell of a manager. We have one of those seasons where, and honestly, last season, though, I mean, we're talking about everything going well. Skip's himself, one of the best managers in the entire league. We make a playoff wild card appearance. They bring back Flashback Fridays with the original Florida Marlin jersey. We don't even got that now. We got some random 3-way colors for the entire weekend, and no one's even wearing the jerseys at the home side because no one's going to the ball games. They're putting more pricey tickets on first base because that's where all the other fans are going to be. We got Mets in New York, Philadelphia fans. Yes, Philly fans in Miami getting active. Makes no sense. And, the Luis Arraez, that trade really, got me because this was in the middle of a game.
Yep.
This was, live.
No respect.
No respect. Live broadcast on Bally Sports, watching him saying his goodbyes to everyone in the ball club. Stuff like that, to be a selling team this early, I'm not even ready for the season, and we're already late in May. It's late. We're already here, and I'm not even ready for the season anymore. This is ridiculous. This team wasn't even ready during, preseason stuff, training camp, spring training. This was a team that wasn't even ready to even get a step into the door. Besides Tim Anderson, what other big news do we have? Besides Jazz Chisholm hitting grand slams and Marlins losing by 2 runs afterwards. Nothing else is going on for this team. The only thing I would say, hopefully, front office gets a clean sweep going to next year. They bring back Flashback Fridays. And for the love of God, how about the home run sculpture gets back inside? She's cold out there. All right?
Every time we talk about the Marlins,
I'm gonna stand on business about that, man. It's getting cold. Shoot, it might even be getting 100-something degrees now down in Miami in July.
Yeah,
she's heating up, man. She's heating up. So bring her inside. If she's hot, if she's cold, bring her in room temperature.
Hey, Brandon, you're just reminding me of those billboards when you're driving up to Orlando. It says, fix your AC. She's hot out there.
Bring the sculpture inside. If you're not going to at least keep a good roster, do that at least.
Jonka, the floor is yours.
Look, bro, I know we got a couple of minutes left, but I'm going to tell you this right now. And I'm dead serious. I've never been more dead serious in my life, Daniel and Brandon. I'll tell you this right now. The president, that little idiot, that little nerd with the glasses, he better not see me on them streets. Because listen, woo! He better not see me on the streets, bro. I swear, because I guess what? He's going to be jumped by over 20 people. Bro, I knew... You guys have said everything I really needed to say, but I'm going to add this to it. They ruined, besides the park being paid by taxpayers, they removed the Clevelander, which was a great addition at the bottom. With people inside the pool, people enjoying themselves watching the game. It was Miami vibes, bro. Somebody hits a home run, the ball goes in the pool. It was their drinks, everybody's having fun. They took out the statue with the home run. The little Marlins going wee woo, everybody going crazy. They took out Sir Pizza. I think they took out Versailles, if I'm correct or not. I don't know. They've made that ballpark absolute trash.
No, wait, hold up. You know what? Also, there's another thing that's been really pissing me off that I'm starting to see a trend on.
What?
Where the hell is Billy?
Bro, I haven't seen Billy in a while, bro.
They're trying to replace Billy the Marlin with 3 chickens.
Bro, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, in Little Havana, I get it, but Billy the Marlin, the Miami Marlins.
All right, okay, hold up here.
Make that work.
Replace Billy the Marlin. We are protesting tomorrow.
I'm going to the streets. I'll make the drive. I'm telling you right now, I will make the drive. If Billy the Marlin is somewhere unknown, being hostage by the guy that wanted to make the Rays into the Marlins or vice versa or whatever you want. I forgot the guy. I don't even want to speak his name, whatever that guy's name is. I forgot. Jocko was on the spiel. But either way, Billy, know you have our support. All right. We're a big mascot fan club here for you, Billy the Marlin. All my friends, everyone in my side hates the chickens. We hate the Roosters. I don't care what names they give them, Papito, whatever name they give them, right? Ain't nobody looking at those races, all right? We're just looking at the columns on the win-loss scores.
First of all, okay, well, 2 things. First of all, the only race that I look at of mascots is in D.C., where they have the presidents run around, because that's the one I find interesting. And number 2, I swear to you, if Billy the Marlin is gone, we're doing a hashtag. We're doing a hashtag at PlugTalkSports, Free Billy. That's what we're going with. Free Billy.
Gotta free him.
Well, anyways, guys, great way to end up the night. Lots of energy in that last topic. Lots of passion coming out for the Marlins. But that's going to be it for us tonight. We hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys next Monday for episode 139.